Welcome to the Dr. Reilly Show. I'm your host, Dr. Reilly. Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome back to another episode of the Ask Dr. Reilly Show. I am your host, Dr. Anissa Reilly, and I know that you have been enjoying our episode so far, and tonight you're going to enjoy it again. So like I say, get your drink, your adult beverage, get your popcorn if you eat it, and get your Raisinets, juju beans, whatever it is that you like to eat when you are sitting down and watching some good programming. Because what we are doing here at the Ask Dr. Reilly Show is good programming. As you know, we've been talking about loss this season, and we have some phenomenal guests that have shared with us their pain, their story. And like Priscilla Etchie said, our guest last week said, pain turned into power. So we're going to learn about another individual today, my sister, who has turned her pain into power. Her name is Joshlyn Perry, and she's going to share with you her journey through pain, her journey to power. You think you've learned something with the other episodes? You're going to learn something today. Yes, you're going to learn something today. So put your hands together and welcome my sister, my guest, my friend, Miss Joshlyn Perry. Come on. Woohoo! You better be clapping up right now in your living room. Here you are. Yes. Thank you so much. Yes. Have a seat. Welcome.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate you being here. Say hi to the peoples.
Hi, everybody.
Yes. So before we get started, please let the people know who you are.
Well, I'm Joshlyn Perry. I am a mom. I am an entrepreneur. I am a phenomenal woman.
Oh, that's right. Because if you don't call yourself one, then who is? And if you don't celebrate yourself, who will? So we all gonna say, I'm every woman. I tried to sing. That's not my calling. But yes, you are a phenomenal woman, and I appreciate you.
And I appreciate you too.
Coming here, telling your story. So the first question that I like to ask all my guests is for them to define loss. So what does loss mean to you?
Loss means losing something that you can never retrieve. That's what loss is.
Okay, so we just went to the deep end real quick. So loss means losing something that you can never retrieve. And so if you had to explain what never retrieve means to a 5-year-old, what would you say?
I would explain it as though when you lost your favorite toy. You were out, say you were at the park, and they got so excited with playing, they were running around, at the monkey bars on the slide, and they put their teddy bear on the bench, and they forgot about it. But when they remembered, they went back, and it was gone, and they looked high and low, and it was just gone. Like they were never going to see it again.
Wow.
That is how I would explain to a 5-year-old. It's like you put it down and it's gone and you can never find it again.
And so how would you be able to move past that? Because if you can never find it again, you can never retrieve it. I can only imagine what the 5-year-old or what the 50-year-old would feel and would think. So how do you say, okay, I can't retrieve it, but what should I do?
So if you know it's never coming back, you find ways to attempt to fill those spaces.
Okay.
So you find other things to do. A child may find another toy, some other toys. You never forget that toy, but you just have other toys now.
Okay.
You learn how to do other things. You figure out how to get beyond losing that toy and try to find other toys that you could possibly be happy with.
Okay. So it sounds like you're saying, take the happiness you had for the one toy and then learn how to channel that to other toys. Okay, 5-year-old. So if you lose your bunny, you can be upset, but you can get some more bunnies, okay? And be happy with the other bunnies, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm glad we just explained it to 5-year-old children out there. So let's start with your journey. Yeah. So I'm telling y'all, you better have your adult beverage, you better have your favorite snack, and tune in.
As an Olympic athlete, I prepare for everything. So when I became pregnant, I thought I was ready. But at 32 weeks, I was diagnosed with severe preeclampsia and had an emergency C-section. Looking back, had I known the warning signs, I would have talked to my doctor sooner. Too many women die of pregnancy-related complications, and most are preventable. If you or someone you know is pregnant or recently had a baby, learn the warning signs. It could help save her life. Hear her.
And we have prepared the family recipe.
Yes.
And this is so good. I'm so excited. And here he is. I think he smelt it.
Yeah,
and he
so.
knew it.
Yeah,
it's
he did.
early in the morning. He's like,
Oh, I know what that is.
yes, we
Get
made
over
it just
here.
for
I
you.
smelled it.
This is the
Yes.
this is the Howley dish of the season.
It's already reminding me of our romantic walks on the beach in the morning.
Yes.
So let's start.
So I was going to work one day. I dropped my baby off to the child care provider. I got a call that there was an accident, to come straight to the hospital. I got to the hospital and my child was no longer alive.
Okay. So
That's the long and short of it.
that's the short of
That's
it.
the short version.
So if you would allow me, I'm going to see how far we can lean in to some of the points.
I'll do my best.
Yeah, so just let me know if I'm leaning too far, if we can't lean that deep in. But first I want to start off by saying, let's honor her by saying her name.
So my baby's name still is Zayna Mitchell.
Zayna Mitchell, snaps up for Zayna. And Zayna was how old when you were like, I'm going to work like any other parent would?
She was 2 years, 2.5 months.
Okay, so let's talk about some of cause Zayna's favorite things. You know, cause Zayna has some favorite
Yes, she did.
favorite things. Okay, at 2 you have personality. At 2 you have some favorite things. So let's talk about her favorite stuff.
So her favorite things were, well, to eat,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
were pears and French fries.
Yeah, that's what 2-year-olds do. I want pears and French fries, mommy.
And she had like favorite things with favorite people, like certain people, she had favorite things. So overall, it was pears and French fries. Mm-hmm. What my cousin Rhonda, it was Arthur Treacher's Hush Puppies.
Oh, okay.
That's what they ate.
Okay.
That's what they ate.
Well, 2-year-old has a very educated palate. You like hush puppies?
When she was with my mom, they ate like zucchini bread and stuff like that. That's what my
Really?
mom ate. That's what she ate. So yeah, she was. But overall, and she liked Captain Crunch.
Okay.
I don't know how.
Well, the wild berry or the...
No, the original
So it didn't
Captain
tear up the roof of her mouth?
I don't understand how she got through it.
Oh.
But I want Captain Crunch, mommy. I want Captain Crunch.
Yeah, you gotta say it just like that. Captain Crunch.
Right.
Captain Crunch. You gotta say it like that because if it's Captain Crunch, you're not doing
Not
it.
wet, not soggy.
Oh, straight?
Yeah, she was a trooper.
Oh. Okay.
I couldn't do it.
I'll never look at Captain Crunch again the same. All right, so those are some Zayna's favorite things. And I know some of you out there have some 2-year-olds who have some favorite things, or some children that have some favorite things. So just find yourself in a space where you can remember. Because you saw how my sister's face lit up when she was talking about Zayna and her favorite things. So it's a good place to be, and a safe space to be when you can remember, right? Mm-hmm. So now, talk about going to work, because a lot of mothers out there find themselves in that situation and in that space where they have to go to work, their second income is needed in the household, or they are single moms, and sometimes it comes with guilt.
Right.
Yeah, so what would you say to those mothers out there?
So at the time, I was a single mom.
Mm-hmm.
I did not grow up in a single parent household. I grew up in a 2-parent household, but my mother went to work every day. Not because she had to, but because she wanted to go to work every day. So I've always watched my mom go to work. So going to work wasn't foreign to me. Although it was encouraged for me to stay home right after I had her. So I was fortunate enough to stay home for 9.5 months.
Okay.
But I kind of got bored and wanted to go back to work. So I honestly went back to work because I was kind of bored being at home, even though having an infant at the time was very challenging. I was an educator. I taught in daycare, so I was always teaching. So she learned at home. By the time she was 2, she already knew how to read. She knew how to count to 11.
To 11?
Yep. She knew all of her alphabet. She could recognize her name. She was pretty good at spelling her name. So I did what I needed to do as a parent. She was, but I wanted to go back to work. So I went back to work. So I worked for a daycare at the time. And the provider that I chose was somebody that I had a relationship with. So I was particular about where I wanted her to go. And so that's where she went.
Okay.
And that day, the one thing I do feel guilty about, honestly, and it'll be 25 years in March, that still bothers me. I didn't listen to her when she says, "Mommy, I don't want to go today. I want to go to Princeton's house." So one of my closest friends, her name was Princess. Zayna could not say Princess. She called her Princeton. Princeton. And I was like, Princeton has to go to work today. Like, you can't go to Princeton's house. So I got in a cab and I went up and I dropped her off at the provider. And I went to work. And I used to be, at that time, I was an early intervention teacher for Bank Street. But I was still affiliated with the daycare that she went to because that's the job that I had previously. And I dropped her off, and then I jumped on the train and I went to work. And a few hours later, I got a call that you need to rush to the hospital. So I rushed up to Lincoln Hospital and found my baby lifeless on the table. Yeah. And it was explained to me that she was choking. And I was like, choking on what? And they said she had beef stew and rice. Beef stew and rice? We don't eat meat. So why is she eating beef stew? So the person attempted to do the Heimlich maneuver, but was trained in the Army how to do it. So just so everyone knows out there in TV land, there is a way to perform infant child CPR on a small child. And there is a way to perform adult CPR on a child that may be my size. I'm 5'2", I'm a small human. So if you have a child that's about my size, you do CPR the adult way. But if you have a 2-year-old or 3-year-old, if you have a small child, there's a way in which you perform CPR, and that wasn't the way that it was performed. Additionally, the provider mother wasn't in the house at the time, and she was supposed to be. She had foster children. One of the foster children had a doctor's appointment. she did not inform the daycare of that because she didn't want to lose a day of pay. So she had her son come over, and he was feeding them lunch. Zaina was choking. He tried to get her to stop choking. He performed the Heimlich maneuver, and in the process of him trying to save her life, 3 of her ribs cracked and 1 punctured her heart, and that's how she passed away. But of course, they didn't know that until they did the autopsy.
Unlike other health concerns, mental illness is not always easy to see.
DEP.
Sorting out a mental health concern takes professional diagnosis and treatment.
Anxiety.
If you or a loved one has a mental health concern, call 1-800-662-HELP for free and confidential information and treatment referral, or go to samhsa.gov/support.
Today I'm going to talk to you about physics. Come on in, girls. Let's go. This is the first rocket to get humans to Mars. Really tall. I'm a rocket structural engineer, designing and building parts of the rocket. You are the generation that will be stepping foot on Mars. Do I have a group of astronauts on my hands? Yes. You can become a rocket scientist or whatever else you want to be.
Well, you just said a whole lot in that, and I know, we're leaning in, and you're like, you want me to tell you the story so we can't, go anymore, and I appreciate your vulnerability and just sharing in a way that makes you feel comfortable, so that our audience can participate in your journey and pull some strength and some healing from your story, because as you said, the anniversary is about to come up. If this is being aired after March, the anniversary has already passed, but being able to come to it 25 years later, right? So I want to ask you this, you said that you felt guilty because you didn't listen to her, right? And I'm sure that there are many people out there who are going through the what ifs, the would've, should've, could'ves, right? And I don't know where you are in that space now, 25 years later, if the would've, should've, could'ves still haunt you. But if they do, and if they don't, what can you say to those of us who are saying, if I only, how can you move past? Because it's been 25 years, but I know where you are in this space, right? I know where you are. So what piece of advice can you offer those who are not there?
So I'm Christian, and my faith has been the foundation and the cornerstone, because there's been plenty of times when I was leaning and it held me up, and that's what has gotten me through. I pray all the time. I learned from a child, I was taught you don't question God on why. He does what he does. We don't understand why, but it is something that it's always for a reason. And even in this situation, it's something that turns out for the best, and we may not understand and we may not know. And the Bible says, lean not on your own understanding. So
just breathe.
When I tell you it's not anything that you can fathom, but I've also, even though I'm Christian, I have a part of my family is Muslim. And they explained to me that when God takes a child so young, it's to save them from a much harsher tragedy later on. And I'm thinking, how much harsher can it get? But they were like, you don't know. You don't know what she could have suffered later on that could have been more devastating to both of you, So again, and I know that when God takes a child young, that they're automatically granted heaven. And I have my own angel that can pray for me. And a part of, outside of my faith and outside of me knowing that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, I understand that you have angels that can pray for you. And I know outside of my deeds and the things that I do in my faith, she can help pray me into heaven. So those are the things that I rest on. I try to live my life a certain way so I can see my baby again.
Well, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna offer you another perspective.
Yes.
Right? I'm gonna offer you another perspective with the situation. So I know the God that we serve, right?
Yes.
And the God that we serve is so loving
Yes.
that causing us the pain that you're feeling is not the type of love that he has for us.
Right.
Right? So for me, and this is the other perspective, when I hear people tell people, oh, God needed another angel, or God took, if he loved me so much, why would he take something that he knows that I care about or I love? Because he also says, I will give you the desires of your heart, right? So in the perspective that I would like to offer you is that we know that there's an enemy of our soul.
Right.
And all he does, his main purpose is to steal, to kill and to destroy.
That's true.
Steal your joy, steal your hope, kill your spirit, and destroy your destiny, right? So my perspective that I would like to offer to you was that this was the enemy's doing, the enemy's job of trying to steal, kill, and destroy Joshlyn. That he took a peek into your future and realized that this was going to be a piece of God's plan that was going to destroy his kingdom. Right?
I never
So that's the perspective I want to offer you.
And I can receive that. I can receive that, absolutely.
Yeah. Because the God that we serve, that you and I serve, loves us too much to have us hurting the way that losing a child hurts a parent, hurts our hearts. But the good thing, because we serve such a loving God, that I know the God that we serve
It's awesome.
is that he promises that he will restore all that the enemy has stolen from us.
That's right.
That he will wipe every tear from our eyes.
That's right.
And that he will give us double for our trouble.
Amen. That's true.
Okay?
Right.
So, and I want to also say that because Jesus is your Lord and Savior, you ain't got to worry about whether or not you're going to see your baby again, because you automatically going into heaven and you going to see Zaina. And she probably going to be like this, Mommy, let me show you. This is where the mansion is. This is where you go get some pears and french fries. This is where you get the best hush puppies in heaven. She's going to be your God in heaven.
Amen.
And she's just waiting for you to come. So you don't even got to worry about whether or not you're going to see her again. Because I'm here to tell you, as your sister, you're going to see her again because of the fact of who you believe in and who you have claimed as your personal Lord and Savior. Now, that's the perspective.
And I take that.
I want to offer you.
And I receive it.
As we talk about.
And I thank you.
Queen Princess Zaina. Right?
So the one thing we do is dream.
Yeah.
And we talk about it often. What does the OSG Summit in LA mean to you?
Well, being around your people, or what we like to say is our tribe, that can pour into you when you have those moments of uncertainty, when you have those moments that you want to jump off the ledge because leadership and education becomes so daunting and so hard. But being around the people gives you that shot of energy that you need, that shot of adrenaline that you need. So this coming together in LA is just a coming together of that energy, of that adrenaline, of that espresso shot that you need in the morning just to get it going before you crash. That's what it means. So it means a coming together of like-minded people. It means coming together with a tribe. Lions travel in packs. Elephants travel in packs. Right? and you never forget your path. And so this is my tribe, this is my path, and we're doing big things together, dreaming together.
Find out how to use an awkward silence to help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
And so you talked about understanding the difference between adult CPR and child infant CPR, right? So share that, because I don't think most people really know that unless they're required to take the course.
Right. So, and you know what? I should have bought my doll with me, and I didn't. I should have bought the doll, but that's okay. So, I have to sit up.
Okay.
So when doing infant child CPR, you take the child, like I'm going to use your box.
Yeah, that's fine.
So you take the child and you turn the child over and you lean them down so gravity can work with them. And their head facing down, and you thrust. You hit their back, upwards, and you thrust so you can help open up their airways and push everything forward so it can dislodge. But with adult CPR, you reach behind the person, you put your hand like right up there and like their solar, and you push up. And when you push up, it's supposed to help push everything so it can dislodge. But when you do that and Zaina was little, 'cause I'm little, but Zaina was little, So when you do that, when you grab a child, the force of it, imagine an adult just bear hugging you, okay? For an adult, that's a lot, So when you're trying to, and you're scared, so when you're grabbing a child and you're, putting all that force.
And this is a man.
A grown man.
It's a grown man.
A grown man.
Military grown man.
Yeah, military grown man. So when you put all of that force and fear onto this little tiny body, it won't work with any child.
Mm-hmm. So you just learned how to administer child CPR and adult CPR, and we encourage you to become certified, to go to classes, to find out those proper ways to administer that, so that way you know what to do if, God forbid, you find yourself in that situation.
Absolutely.
So the man.
He did some time in prison. Because he was not supposed to be at the house. They closed down her house. She was no longer a provider. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Oh yeah, that was telling you, he went to jail, they closed it, and I ain't talking about it no more.
So, he did try to reach out to me. Like afterwards or some years, I was like, yeah, that's not gonna work. But, there was more layers to it. Yeah. But
not gonna talk about that.
Right, and what it just comes down to is all ties were severed, and it was time for me to find a way to move forward.
Heal.
Right.
So you can let me know if you are willing to answer this question. Talk about that moment when you went to the hospital. Take us there.
Everyone should know how to do hands-only CPR. If you see a teen or adult suddenly collapse, all you need are
2 simple steps. Call 911 and push hard and fast in the center of the chest until help arrives.
Just push to the beat of the classic song, Stayin' Alive.
It really works.
You didn't let me finish. I really do know this stuff.
If it wasn't for disco, I'd be dead.
Staying alive. Staying alive.
I've come up with the family emergency plan.
What is it?
It's difficult to talk about, so I'm not telling you.
I'm so glad I won't have to remember anything.
And me too. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311.
So you can let me know if you are willing to answer this question.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about that moment when you went to the hospital. Take us there.
So I went to the hospital. My mom met me there. I got on the train. I called my mother immediately. Like, my mother was my best friend. Drove me bananas, but my mother was my best friend. Like, she was my rock. And she got to the hospital, and I just went running through the emergency room. She saw me, I saw her, and I was trying to get into the room. And there was a police officer standing in front of the door, and I was like, I gotta get in there. Like, that's my baby, I need to get in. And they were like, no, you can't come in. And I was like, what do you mean you can't come in? I was like, that's my baby, I have to go in. And they were like, you can't go in. And my mother's pleading with him, let her see her daughter, like, let her in there. And I was like, you gotta let me in. And me being the size that I am, I wriggled my way around the man because I was going in there, and the officer grabbed me. He wouldn't let me go in. So the fighter in me came out. The mother in me came out. The mother who's trying to protect her child in me came out. And I'm not quite sure if that officer can have children right now, because I backed all the way up, and I'm pretty flexible.
Just pretty flexible.
Pretty flexible.
Wait.
And I backed up and went straight in the groin, and he doubled over, and he went to go after me, and somebody grabbed him. They were like, let her see her child. And the doctor came, and they were like, don't take anything out, because there were tubes in her. They were trying to resuscitate her. So they had intubated her, and they were like, you can't take anything out. Please don't take anything out. So I just stood there and I looked at her. And I went over there and I hugged her, and I just cried, and that.
Take a tissue.
I'm gonna be okay.
Okay.
That, till this day, when you watch television and you see like little children, they have tubes in them, I still have to change the channel, because it just brings me right back, and that it doesn't work. I can't.
And I think well, first of all, thank you.
You're welcome.
For letting us go to that moment with you. But turning the channel, I think, is important for us to talk about, because you are intentional about staying in a place of healing, right? And you have learned what is not going to take you out of that.
Right.
And your peace, from what I know of you, is oh so important.
Oh, so important.
Oh, so important. Talk about that, because some people don't understand that it is their responsibility to maintain their peace and stay in a state of peace. Right. So talk about that.
So I come from people that you either crumble or, well, our school of thought is you either crumble or you work it out. I'm not the crumbling type. So I do whatever it is that I need to do to maintain my peace of mind. If I have learned that if it doesn't make me feel good, then it has to go. Not that I don't try every now and then to make it work, but I'm like, yeah, that's not gonna serve me. That's not gonna give me what I need to be okay, to heal, to be healthy. There's too many broken people out here, and everyone to some degree has something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Everyone has something. But when you recognize what your something is, you do whatever it is you have to do not to be there. You know? Everybody has a trigger. When you recognize your triggers, you move away from those things, at least you should. It's like somebody who is, like say they're allergic to peanuts. Are you gonna eat the peanut? You might not want to eat the peanut because the repercussions are going to be so much more severe than you enjoying that peanut at that time. So I've recognized that. So I know how to pray. Man, let me tell you how I know how to pray. I know how to cut on some good word.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know what that is.
The Bible.
Right. I listen to some good old preaching when it serves me and some great gospel music to put me in the place that I need to be in. It really does like put me at ease and take my burden away at that time. It allows me to refocus so I can do what I need to do in order to be okay. And everyone needs to know, not only know, everyone needs to allow themselves to be okay.
Yeah.
Everyone
Permission.
needs to, right. Everyone needs to allow themselves time to heal and remove those things from their lives that don't serve them well without explanation.
Yeah.
The answer is because. Not because I don't, because. Well, how come you don't do any of it? Because. Well, can we? No.
Why?
Because.
What's the word out there now? Unapologetically.
Right.
I'm doing it unapologetically.
Exactly. Sorry, I'm not sorry.
Yes.
And I'm okay with that.
Yes.
At this age, I'm okay with that.
Yes.
I'm 51, by the way.
Yeah, we look good, don't we?
That good old Jesus juice work every time.
Wait a minute, Jesus juice. Praise the Lord. Because the Bible does say, put on the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. Yes, it does. And so, amen.
So.
Yes. So you talked in the beginning, when we talked about the bunny and losing the bunny, you can't retrieve it anymore. So now you got to take those happy genes that you applied on the bunny and you have to apply it someplace else. So let's talk about how you have taken that love that you had for Princess and applied it in another way, because watch this one.
So in my family, what we do is even if someone has passed away, we still celebrate their birthday. So we eat their favorite food. That's primarily what it is. Like, we eat their favorite foods. So every December 30th is Pear and French Fry Day.
Yes, it is. And you must eat pear and French fries.
That's right. That's right. And I make sure everybody gets the notice. Don't forget today is Pear and French Fries Day. So get your pears and get your French fries. And so we still celebrate their birthday. So December 2009 would have been Zaina's 16th birthday. And that would have been a very momentous occasion.
Yes.
So I was asking everybody, I was like, what are we gonna do? Like, this year we have to do something big. Like, we have to do something big. And nobody could think of anything. They were like, I don't know. I was like, yo, not helpful. Like, I need you to help me right now. So the subsequent memory of my hospital stay kept playing over and over in my mind for like 2 weeks prior to her birthday. I was fortunate enough to have a private room down at Roosevelt Hospital, which is now Mount Sinai West or something like that. And the hospital, which I had never heard of before, the hospital ran out of space. So apparently we were all at the same party drinking all the same punch because everybody was having babies and they ran out of rooms. So they asked people with private rooms if they wouldn't mind sharing their room. So I was like, I don't mind sharing because, I come from a very charitable family.
Yes.
Yes. And I told them, I said, well, I got a private room for a reason. So whoever you put in here, they have to be social because I have a huge family and they will all be down here, all of them. At any given time, I had no less than 10 people in the room. And we have a big family.
For those of you that don't know, that's what Black people do.
Yeah. We have a big family.
I mean, I'm sure other cultures do it too, but I'm Black, so I can say that.
Exactly. And we have a big family. So the young lady they put in the room had a little boy. And, you have the room, the curtain closed or whatever. I was like, that's like awkward. Like, let's open up the curtain and invite her over here with us. She was by herself. well, the child's father was there, but like she would call, nobody would answer, or the phone would always be busy. So we were like, it kind of made us uncomfortable for her. So we were like, let's just pull back the curtain and invite her over. Like, you belong to us right now. This is your family too, because that's how we do, right? So when everybody came down, even though I had, like I said, I was fortunate, I had 2 baby showers. Now that everyone knows what I had, and everybody's going to the store. So they coming in with bags from like Bloomingdale's, from Macy's, from this place, from that place. And they had like a bunch of pink stuff. But Zaina's dad came down with the stuff from the baby shower. Mind you, I had already packed the bag. I already knew what she was going to wear. But anyway, he brought down. So there was yellow and green. I don't like yellow or green. Oh. And I didn't know, right.
You were prejudiced against yellow and green.
And I didn't know what I was having. So it was, a surprise. I wanted to be surprised. If God wanted me to know what I was having, he would have put a peekaboo window on my stomach. And I was like, that wasn't the case. So, and I've heard horror stories of people thinking they know the sex and it'd be another sex when the baby's born. So I was like, no, I'm going to wait. So anyway, they came down, they had all of this stuff. And she was born on December 30th. I didn't want to spend the new year in the hospital. So I told the doctor, if I'm healthy and she's healthy, discharge me. So my roommate was like, well, I don't want to be by myself. Like, don't leave. I was like, sorry, but I got to go home. And she was like, well, I want to go home too. So she kept calling her child's father, but there was no answer. And he only visited one time that I was there. And in all fairness, I was like there for like a day and a half, but he only visited one time. So since I don't like yellow and green, and she had a little boy, the little boy could wear the yellow and green. So my family was like, well, why don't we just give her all the yellow and green so she can have something to take her baby home in. So that just kept playing over and over in my mind. So I said, I know what we're gonna do. I said, we're gonna get baby blankets for every baby born on December 30th at Roosevelt Hospital, and we're gonna give them something so they can have something warm to take their baby home in. That was supposed to happen December 30th, 2009, one day. I called the hospital. I let them know what was going to happen. I assured them that I was not a psychopath, that my husband he's retired now as a police officer, and that he could talk to his commanding officer. We are not crazy people. And all they wanted to know was, do you want to go near the babies? I'm like, no. I just want to see the moms so I can give them this blanket. So my family got 32 blankets, but it wanted to be in 16 sets, so like 16 receiving blankets, 16 outer blankets. Put them in gift bags, tissue, pretty them up, went down there, gave them out. That was it. Happy birthday, Zaina. Went back to the house, had cake, told some stories, laughed, cried. I was done. A week later, I get a call from the hospital. Do you have anything left? We have some people that are in need. I'm like, actually, I don't. That was it. An hour later, I got a call from somebody saying, so we have some things. Do you want them? Because we know you would get. I was like, no, I'm done. They said, well, you have to take them because we don't have anybody to give them to, and we got them for you. So I went and I picked them up. I called the hospital.
And then that turned into
11 years.
11 years later, still going to the hospitals and doing this.
And not only am I going to the hospitals to do that, I have people calling me. Yeah. My Zaina's
now you created. Wait, don't gonna say that.
Right.
You created a foundation.
Yes.
So go ahead. What's the name of it?
Zaina's Blanket Foundation, and we provide baby blankets and other essentials to newborn families who are in need of something warm to bring their babies home in, and to help take care of the most vulnerable, population of our community. Yeah. So we teach infant child CPR classes. As time goes on, we're still looking for funding. In the full scope of the program, once funding starts, we will have infant child CPR classes regularly, even though we do them, we can't do them because of the pandemic now. But we do them quarterly, free of charge. We have, like I said, parenting classes, doula services. I'm a doula, by the way. Lactation services. I'm also a lactation counselor. And people call us because they don't have anything for their children. The most basic things people don't have. People don't realize that statistically, if you look at the numbers, a baby blanket can save a child's life. Because people's children, they get cold, they get sick. They get sick, they go to the hospital. They develop a lot of respiratory issues. So a lot of children suffer from asthma, things like that. Just keeping a baby warm can save a baby's life.
So if there are any people watching and they need to get in contact with you or want to pass your information on because they say, oh, I know Sally needs something, how can they get in contact with you?
So they can go online to Zainab'sBlanketFoundation.org.
Spell Zainab because...
That's right. It is not spelled the regular way.
Yes.
It is Z as in zebra, A-E as in egg, N as in Nancy, A-H, S as in Sam, blanketfoundation.org. Or you can go to zainabsblanket@gmail.com.
Yes.
And you can contact me. And
what's your IG?
I'm about to say Zainab's Blanket Foundation, Inc. On Facebook is Zainab's Blanket Foundation, and the number is 917-299-5986.
Yes. So if you know anyone who needs some essential baby items, or if you yourself are wondering how to move from loss, please rewind, listen to my sister here share how she's moving, and still going through it, but doing it successfully. Remember, choose life, choose joy, and learn how to take those feelings you had for your bunny and move them to another bunny, so that way you can live your best life. God loves you, He's a loving God, and He wants you to live out your destiny. Well, that's the Ask Dr. Reilly show. My name is Dr. Anissa Reilly, and thank you again. Peace. Beverly, look!
No, you cannot have any more babies. Let's stop that nonsense.
It's a horrible thing not being able to provide for your child. When you have a baby, you look forward to the happy things, but the cruel reality is life happens. People lose their jobs, people lose their loved ones. Zainab's Blanket Foundation was really a happy accident. 21 years ago, my daughter passed away, Zainab. She was choking. The person that performed the Heimlich maneuver on her was trained to do it in the military. In the process of giving the Heimlich maneuver, he did it the adult way instead of the infant child way. 3 of her ribs cracked and 1 punctured her heart. This is my favorite picture of her. She was standing in front of her toy box. If I can avoid some other family having a tragedy due to lack of education, then I will make every effort to make sure that doesn't happen. Infant mortality is high. Low-income communities don't have a lot of warm items. The parents can't really shop as often as they would need to in order to provide them with warm clothing. They get them the bare essentials and hope that they will last until the next season. So what I do is act as a cushion in between and provide them with other things they need.
In 0.1 miles, turn right.
The demographic that I currently serve are low-income families. There are families within the 5 boroughs of New York City. We service families who have children ages 0 to 5 years old with pretty much anything they need. I just want to let you know that I didn't forget about you and I'm still coming, but the Brooklyn Bridge is outrageous. In my family, we still celebrate your birthday whether you're alive or not. And in 2009, what would have been Zainab's 16th birthday, I told everybody we're going to give a baby blanket born to every baby that was born on December 30th on her birthday. I called the hospital. My family and my friends had donated 32 blankets. It was 16 receiving blankets and 16 outer blankets. The hospital kept calling me to see if I had anything left, and people kept giving me things. And every time I would tell the hospital it's the very last time, but it just snowballed into what is now Zainab's Blanket Foundation.
Thank you, you too.
If you need anything else, just have Julissa call me.
Okay.
If I have it, I'll try to get it to you.
Okay.
We are totally donation driven. I make ends meet because I have a wonderful significant other who takes care of everything else, so I can live this dream and make sure the foundation is getting its needs met.
Oh my God! So nice to see you. You too.
The day she brought the high chair for me, she came here not because of the high chair. She came because I told her that I needed clothes for Jacob, and I didn't have the money to buy because I was not working. So then she came here and she bring me the clothes, and she was so excited, like she was the one receiving the clothes. And then she was looking, and then she said, "Oh, you don't have a high chair." And I said, "No, I don't have one." And then she was like, "Oh, I have one in my car." And she bring it to me. People, sometimes they start doing something, but then they get tired and they change. But I know it won't be Joshlyn's case, because I see that she do what she does from the bottom of her heart. I always have her on my prayer, because when I need her, she was there for me. I won't forget that, never. Hi, Jacob.
Welcome to the Dr. Reilly Show.
Next time on Ask Dr. Reilly, Dr. Reilly sat down with Brooke Lugo-Smith and Colin Smith to talk about their daughter, baby Kennedy.
So that was complicated. They told us that there was no heartbeat. We didn't understand what that meant. Like, what do you mean no heartbeat? Find the heartbeat. Go look again. And, you know, I don't know if maybe it was difficult for the doctor to deal with the situation as well, but she didn't want to keep looking. You know, we asked multiple times. You know, my husband immediately came over and prayed. Then we tried to look again, you know, hoping that maybe we would be that testimony,
yes.
that story.
Yes.
You know,
God did the work.
Yes, he got. But what do you do when God says no? You know, you don't give up. You definitely don't do that. And he's the reason why we got through the situation, or we're getting through, because I think it's an ongoing process.
I'm your host, Dr. Anissa Reilly.